And in this chapter, we are going to talk about Mendel's laws of inheritance, different crosses like monohybrid, dihybrid crosses, some important terms we will discuss like gene, allele, phenotype, genotype, dominant, recessive, mutation, variation, etc. And some more like sex determination, sex linked inheritance, and so on. So, to begin with, the term genetics. You have heard genetics as well as heredity, the two terms. Maybe somewhere in your mind you might have a little confusion. So let us see what are these two terms first of all. So genetics, it is the branch of biology actually, and that deals with the study of transmission. So it is that branch which deals with the study of transmission of body features from parents to offspring and the laws which are related to such transmission, and these laws were formulated by Mendel. So that is what is genetics, the study of transmission of body features or the characters, you can say, from parents to offspring. And when these things are transferred from parent to offspring, so they follow certain rules, they follow certain laws, and they are given by Mendel. So you have to learn this definition. Now we come to another term, that is heredity. So what is heredity? Heredity is a process by which the same thing, transmission of genetically based characters are transmitted from parents to offspring. So what does that mean? That genetics is that branch in which the study or it deals about the study of how the transmission is taking place, whereas heredity is that process by which the transmission is occurring. Now when we talk about genetics, the very first name which strikes our mind is the father of genetics, that is Gregor Johann Mendel. In your book you can write in short also G.J. Mendel or Gregor Johann Mendel. So father of genetics, Mendel or Gregor Johansen Mendel. He was born, the birth year is 1822. He was born on 22nd of July, and for 6 years he worked on the plant pea, that is Pisum sativum. Pea plant, and the botanical name of pea plant is Pisum sativum. And this work, whatever he worked, this work has given us all the principles of inheritance which we are going to discuss in this chapter. So his work was based on this. We have to remember that which plant Mendel has chosen, that was P. Pisum sativum. He died in the year 1884, so that was his death year. And till he died, his work was not recognized. So unfortunately, whatever he worked, he could not see the recognition of his work till his death. And I am going to discuss some points. I'll tell you why his work went unrecognized and for such a long period of time. So after his death, that means 16 years after the death, that means in the year 1900, there were 3 scientists who rediscovered Mendel's work, and that is when the entire work which he did, he got recognition of that. So the 3 scientists were Hugo de Vries, Correns and Schermak. So you may not have to learn these names, but just for your knowledge I am sharing this with you people. Okay, so then the Mendel's, now the reasons, I would like to tell you the reasons. Before sharing reasons with you all, I would like to tell you something interesting, that Mendel was not a biologist, he was a mathematician, and he was assigned a job of priest in a church. So now the reasons why his work was not recognized, why whatever work he did went unrecognized for such a long period of time. So there are 3 reasons. First reason was that during those days, children, when we do some work, some research work, so in that we are supposed to prepare some work which we are doing, that we are supposed to frame in a kind of article, and that article is actually called as paper. So, and those paper, they are needed to be published in journals. So the methods of publication during that time was very simple and very very ordinary. So the research that he did was not published on a larger scale. So because publishing paper in local, it's just like, suppose if there is some news which is spread at a local level and an international level, so definitely there is a difference. So if the paper is published through local journals, it will be the news or the paper, the work which was done by him, that was only to a certain it was reaching to a very limited people. And here, so in international journals his work was not published. So that was one reason that his work was not published properly, and it could not be known globally. So if there was a some kind of way where his work could be published at international level, international journal, so that would not be done, and Mendel was not recognized because of this reason. The second reason was because he was a mathematician, as I told you. So biologists did not accept the work. So biologists were not able to comprehend this concept that a mathematician is explaining us the biological process. As you all know, if some bio teacher comes and starts teaching you physics or chemistry, it will be a little difficult for you to understand, and maybe if it is maths, so it becomes the other way. So that was the similar thing with him also. So biologists, they did not accept the work, and they were also, that was the time when Darwin was doing his work. So we are going to talk in detail about Darwin also when we will discuss the chapter evolution. Okay, so they were also busy discussing Darwin's work at that time, which was like known to everyone, and everywhere it was, so much of excitement was there for the Darwin's work. Okay, so then the third reason was that Mendel was talking about factors which we now call as genes. So these factors which Mendel was talking about was that they are responsible for inheritance of character from one generation to the next generation, and these factors were not clearly understood, and according to Mendel they were simply the discrete units, and people who were not able to understand how these units are being passed on. So now what we mean by these discrete unit is that genes, which is now known as genes. So when Mendel said that factors are the things which are responsible for a particular character at that time, so they were not able to understand, because the microscopic work and all those things, they were at very very elementary level. So people had no idea how our DNA looks and how the genes would be. So to understand something imaginary, that there is something in our body or in the cell which is being passed on from one generation to next generation. So this idea was not actually very convincing to the people. So because of these three reasons which I told you, they were considered as the most important reason for the failure of Mendel, or you can say the non-recognition of Mendel's work. Later on, Mendel's work got recognition. And I told you about the three scientists in 1900, as they did rediscovered the Mendel's work. So the Mendel's work got recognition, and later on he was being given the name, the father of genetics, and the Nobel Prize and all those things were given in his name. So now there are certain reasons why his work was taken in a very nice manner, and till date, you see, we are till date following the same principles. So we are going to talk the next thing about that is the reasons for Mendel's success, that which were those points which has helped them to succeed. So the first reason was he selected contrasting characters, a selection of contrasting characters in pea plant. Now what exactly is meant by contrasting characters, and why was this a very important point? See children, you might think that these things are not all that important, why we need to know? To understand something in depth, we need to get a little idea before we enter into the main thing. And when we are talking about genetics, I'm going to enter in the main stream of this, when I'm going to discuss the laws and all with you all. So at least you will have an idea, okay, Mendel worked on pea plant and what was the reason for his success, why he chose pea plant, and a few more terms which I will be discussing with you. If you are well aware of these terms, then only you can understand what I'm trying to explain you in a better form. So I was telling you that what is meant by contrasting character. So why was this point very important? So suppose if we are talking about a particular character, say height of a plant. So we consider this height of a plant as a character. And if we say that one plant is tall, there can be different forms, and the other plant is taller. So here see individual's perception is going to come in. So for one person, one particular height of a plant could be tall, the other person can say it taller, for other person it may be short, and so like that there is vagueness and ambiguity. So in case of contrasting character, if one plant is tall and the other is dwarf or short, so here short is short for everybody and tall is almost tall for everybody. Or for that matter, if we see color, so suppose we are taking color and we say one is purple, so a purple maybe there is lot of ambiguity, some say dark purple, light purple. So here again individual's perception is going to matter. But if the flower is purple and white, then there can be no ambiguity or confusion. So the conclusion will be that purple is purple, and everybody will see it as a purple, and white remains white. So that was the significance of contrasting characters, and he selected 7 such contrasting characters. We will talk about all those 7 characters in later part of this session. Another second important reason was of his success was a huge sample size. The large sample size, that means every time he collected his information from various plants, the number of plants or number of case studies were very, very big. Whenever he wanted to give any kind of conclusive report, the number has to be huge. See, if for example, if we say amongst 10 people the eye color is black, then we say if I say that it is dominant, then nobody is going to accept that unless and until the survey has been done on say 10,000 people or maybe a million of people, and then they come to a conclusion. So then your result would be considered as more authentic. So it depends on the number of people where the survey has been done. So there is a large sample size, which was a very important thing. Another important reason for Mendel's success was all the data which he collected was analyzed in a very systematic manner using the mathematical routes. As we said, he was a mathematician, so nice and correct data analysis was done. And fourth, we can say that a chance or he purposefully did that we have no idea, but the reason why he succeeded in all his research work was that none of these characters were showing linked genes, although it is a little higher level. So that means, in short, you can understand that there was no linkage, matlab the characters were not attached, they were not linked with one another. Okay, so and if suppose this would not have been there, so whatever conclusions were drawn, they would also get a mixed result, and the data analysis was not being able to be all that statistical. So the sample size was big, and he selected contrasting characters, and there was no scope of confusion. Now we have seen that why the work was not recognized, and later about his success. Now let us talk why Mendel chose pea plant. So there are certain reasons why Mendel chose pea plant, Pisum sativum. So let us see. I told you that before in the beginning, that he was working as a priest in a church. So he was responsible for taking care of the complete premises of that church, and at the backyard there was open land where he was growing the pea plant. So the reason for selecting pea plant was, first of all, the lifespan is short. That means the pea plant completes its life cycle in about 3 to 4 weeks. So it means in 3 to 4 weeks he was able to get the next generation. And when you are able to study many generations, you're getting it in a shorter time, so you can study them again and again. So whatever and the large sample was available, so whatever data is going to be collected, that will be authentic. So that was the first reason, that the lifespan was short and he could study many generations within that short span of time. The second reason was that the pea plant shows self as well as cross pollination, or you can say fertilization. So self and cross fertilization, both the types, they are possible in this plant. Then the third reason was that it also shows contrasting characters. So there are 7 contrasting characters which Mendel selected, and we will see all those 7 characters here, and also we'll see that which particular trait or the particular expression is dominant or recessive. So dominant is the one which is able to express itself completely, whereas recessive is the one which is being masked by dominant. Like in your friend circle or group also, suppose there are 5 children, or the member of friends, they are 5. So definitely some are very, very dominant in that, and everybody have to follow, and the others, they understand also, अच्छा ये उसने कहा है तो अब यही होगा. And the others, those who are not able to speak much, so they are recessive. So anyway, at home also you can understand very well who is dominant over whom. I mean, whether your daddy is dominating or mommy is dominating, because whosoever, whatever that is being said is followed. अगर मम्मी ने कहा आज मूवी जानी है तो जानी है, so that is mummy is dominant. And if papa is like that, or suppose papa says no, no means no, so that case papa is dominant. I hope you can understand better with these things. Okay, so here we see the character dominant and recessive. So the first is the first character, or the particular, you can say, expression or trait is this height, and it can be dominant, that is tall, and the other is recessive, that is dwarf. So tall is tall and dwarf is dwarf, there is no ambiguity. Second is the flower position. If the flower grows in the axil, then it is called as axillary and it is dominant, and if it is terminal, then it is recessive, terminal towards the end. So at one point. Then flower color, it can be purple, that is dominant, white is recessive. Fourth is pod shape. Now pod means the fruit. Okay, it can be inflated. You can see the structure I have drawn for you. Inflated is like this, and constriction, you can see that constricted is recessive, and there is a huge difference. So if it is inflated, that means it is inflated, there is no confusion, it's very clear. And constricted, which is recessive, it is constricted. Then the fifth is pod color. Green is dominant, yellow is recessive. Seed shape, round is dominant and wrinkled is recessive. Seed color, yellow is dominant and green is recessive. So you have to keep certain things in your mind, although most of the times it is mentioned in the question. See children, questions will come to solve where it is mentioned that there is a cross which is made between a tall plant and a dwarf plant. So we need to understand that tall is dominant and dwarf is recessive. And further, when we will discuss the laws, the crosses, I will explain you I'll explain you again. So these are the 7 characters which Mendel chose, and these characters, they show total contrast. So there is no confusion, no ambiguity and no vagueness. So these were the reasons why Mendel selected pea plant. So you have seen short lifespan, it could be fertilized using pollen grain with the same plant or the other, and there are distinct contrasting characters. Plus growing pea plant is very easy. It does not require much of maintenance. Another important point is that seeds, they do not show dormancy. The dormancy is like as soon as the seeds are formed, they start germinating, and we know that during dormancy, in spite of giving them all the favorable conditions, seed is still not able to germinate. If that is the situation, we have to wait for a certain period to that dormancy period will get over, and then we otherwise the other option is that we break the dormancy. So that is not with this pea plant, and that is also an added advantage. And one more reason, that is the last reason, is that plant produces more number of seeds. The number of seeds which are produced is higher, so the bigger sample size was available, and all these reasons, they helped in giving the success to the Mendel's work. So we have discussed about the authenticity of his work, the why his work was not recognized, and why Mendel chose pea plant, why was he successful. In the next session, we shall discuss some important terms which we are going to use in this chapter. Okay, thank you, children.